Hello, everyone. A pleasure to have you all here for Converge. It is important to stay relevant. At Globant, we love breaking the status quo, and we believe that inspiration can bring many people together to think big. That's why we gather thought leaders, artists, engineers, forward thinkers to showcase a future driven by intersection of technology and humanity. We just experienced a profound work of art, music and dance, powered by AI, data and machine learning. We will be hearing from Refik Anadol himself later on the show on how he's transforming the digital landscape by broadening the possibilities of art today. Technology is enhancing human capabilities and helping us connect in many different ways, generating smarter organizations and better ways to improve people's lives. Today, we will hear firsthand testimonies from top global brands that are exploring together with Globant new ways of reinventing businesses. Human expression will continue to find new shapes and formats to bring to life. Technology is fueling this and taking us to the next reinvention. Welcome everyone to Globant Converge.
Throughout history, businesses have continuously adapted to new ways of working. The world is becoming more and more connected. Those at the helm will need to think globally when developing talent and actively seek out diverse teams from varying backgrounds and geographies. Leaders must be able to balance the two most essential ingredients to future-proof their business: humanity and technology. The challenge is to not just survive, but to lead with impact in an increasingly connected world. Get inspired by this conversation between Bob Iger, former CEO of the Walt Disney Company, and Martín Migoya, CEO and co-founder at Globant.
And here we are with Bob. And thank you, Bob, for being here today. We're so honored.
My pleasure, Martin.
I would like to start by talking about reinvention and the fact that Disney has been reinventing at global scale, as I said, is something that really always attracted me. And the first question is around the idea of how you have been able to make that culture at Disney of constantly being reinvented. And I have seen it. I have seen it by myself as one of my customers and as one of our largest customers. I have seen how Disney is constantly reinventing, constantly innovating, and how you make it happen on the edges of the organization, not just at the core.
Well, it's, I think, a very, very relevant question because we live in a world of dynamic change, of change that is not only all around us, but constant. And yet, a lot of institutions, whether they're private institutions or public institutions, governments and businesses, are designed in many respects to, in a way, react to the status quo, to deal with conditions of today. So in Disney, when we talked about reinvention, it always started with the fact that there was no choice but to reinvent because the world was not staying the same. The conditions that we were doing business in were not staying the same.
Either you deal with the present and the future, or you cannot deal with any of them.
That's correct. And I think you have to train an organization and develop a culture that is willing to perform well today, but also consider what tomorrow will bring and how to perform well tomorrow.
One of the core values that you have as a leader is the relentless pursuit of perfection. Which are the values that as a leader are more important in an individual, in a team, or in a CEO that you look when you're looking at people?
I was fortunate over the years to have worked for a few people who demanded perfection, demanded excellence, and refused to accept no for an answer unless you had completely exhausted every possibility of saying yes. And so I was constantly sent back to, if I came in and said, I don't think we can do that, and they'd say, well, tell me why, or go figure out how you can. So I was lucky in that I was trained at a relatively early age as an executive in my 20s to always try to deliver a yes. So that's, in my opinion, that is critical for any organization to have people that are willing to pursue yes and willing to pursue perfection and unwilling to accept mediocrity or anything less than something that is really great.
One thing which really makes me curious about Disney is that perfect mix that you make between pursuit of perfection and that taking only yes for an answer and be kind. We have a big movement inside Globant around our Be Kind initiative. Be kind with the planet, be kind with yourself, be kind with your peers. And I find, and we learned on all these years working together with Disney, that Disney is an extremely kind organization.
Well, I think a lot today, and I certainly did when I was CEO and chairman of Disney, about what the Disney brand means to people. When you hear the Disney name, what chemical reaction does it create? And typically what you hear from people is it means a brand or product that's good for me and my family, for instance. So I think Disney not only needs to walk the talk in its storytelling, it needs to walk the talk in terms of how it manages itself, how it manages its own people. Do you find that your employees are much more focused on not only how your company behaves as a citizen of the world, but also how much they provide, not just in terms of financial support, but security and well-being to them? And
Look, I believe that people are looking more today into a 360 kind of compensation. Compensation, of course, has a monetary part, but has a motivational part. It has a planetary part. Mm-hmm. And we're big believers that whenever we are doing something for them that is not just connected with the project or with the monetary compensation, they receive it extremely well, which is, for example, how we take care of the energy we consume, or how we take care of developing software which is more friendly to the ecosystem. I would love to go, Bob, if you don't mind, into the part of the interview that I will really learn more, which is talking about bold decisions. And it looks like you mastered that thing, and I never seen one single tenure as a CEO with such an amount of bold decisions happening.
When I look back on these so-called bold decisions, and I appreciate the praise that I'm getting from you, I understand they seemed bold, but they made so much sense to me, and they fit in, which is important, they fit into a strategy that I articulated, so that when I raised the idea of making a bold decision, it wasn't out of context. I declared to the board when I was campaigning to become the CEO that the most important thing for the company was to invest in high-quality branded entertainment. I thought technology would disrupt distribution, make distribution at some point maybe even a commodity, but great content, branded entertainment would never be a commodity. So in articulating that, and not only was I articulating a vision, I was articulating a priority for the company in terms of where it's to invest its capital. Pixar was a $7.3 billion acquisition. That's a big acquisition to make when you're just a brand new CEO. But in the discussions with the board and the presentation, including Steve Jobs' meeting with the board, which was, I must admit, very powerful, they understood that while it was a huge risk, it was a risk worth trying.
There's another bold decision that you took, which is acquiring 21st Century Fox, Marvel, and all the rest of the brands that came with that, which at the time was really impressive.
And so after we bought Pixar, and I discussed high-quality branded content, we actually had a list of what else is out there that we could buy, and Marvel was one, and Lucasfilm or Star Wars was another. And so we did those deals. We did Pixar in 2006, Marvel in 2009, Star Wars in 2012. What was interesting about Marvel is there were people who thought that a lot of the characters were already licensed to others. What they didn't know is there were 7,000 characters. And I had a book of 7,000 superhero biographies. And look, which one should we do? We knew that Spider-Man was spoken for, and an Iron Man movie had come out, but there was Captain America and Thor and Black Panther and Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain Marvel, and you can go on and on and on. Characters people never heard of.
And Bob, we know the big yes now. There must be a no in the middle. In 2016, you tried to acquire Twitter, and then you walk away.
As we were considering creating a streaming platform, the biggest challenge that we had, once we acquired the intellectual property for it, but the biggest challenge that we had was the technology. Did we have a platform that could serve the consumer well globally, which meant everything from not only high quality video presentation, but billing and credit cards and all the different formats that you have to ultimately produce and distribute in, And we had nothing like that at Disney. And I asked the team to search far and wide about what's the solution. They came back first with we could build it. And I said, well, how long will that take? And they said 5 years. And I said, we don't have 5 years.
You should have called Globant. We would have made it in 2.
Well, I wish I had known that then. I wish I had known that. We were looking at Twitter as a global distribution platform for all of the IP that we had amassed through the acquisitions. I went home on a Friday. I remember I initially got in my car feeling exuberant that the Disney board had said go, and that the Twitter board had said to Jack Dorsey, who was running Twitter, go. I thought, wow, we could actually get this done. And then I woke up on Saturday morning and I thought, what are we doing? We're creating a solution to one problem, but we're buying into a much bigger problem. When you think back to the 2016 US presidential election and Twitter's role in that, I would have been a responsibility that Disney and that I would have taken on, which would have been incredibly challenging, very distracting. And I called Jack Dorsey, and I told him that I thought it was wrong for Disney, and I was going to notify the Disney board, and that we should figure out another solution.
I remember my team telling me, hey, Martin, Bob had to allocate an insane amount of money to do a new attraction on the Disney park, or use that money to create a digital transformation of the same park and creating a new attraction, which is not an attraction itself, but is a way of interacting with that park in a much smarter way. And instead of doing what everybody would do, which is doing the new attraction, he decided to invest on the digital transformation of parks, which we were very lucky to be part of, and we help you through the way. But the concept of a digital transformation of a whole experience, like you did, was very unique. Immediately after that, banks, any kind of customer, were calling us, we want to be like Disney. So that was a massive transformation. I would love to understand more about the inner works of that, and I would like to understand more about how to drive a company to such a change. And then please connect it to the second massive change, which was launching Disney Plus, that you started to talk about a little bit before, but launching Disney Plus as another massive transformation where needed to tear down years and years of partnerships and change them and distribute content in a totally different manner, understanding those things to have the success it has today, overcoming Netflix as the number one subscriber number in the world. It's so interesting that I will let you speak about that and give me your thoughts and ideas.
And it's interesting, given the business you're in, too, because you're really in the business of facilitating change for companies, right, and transformation. But in 2010, 55 years after the first park was open, nothing had really changed other than we were adding more attractions and shows and hotels. The world was very different, but what was really important is the customer was very different. And so we created a group to think about what was called NGE, Next Generation Experience. It was a RFID technology connected to the cloud. The band could be read at various locations around the park, and it enabled an experience that was much more modern, had much less friction than the one that they had. The next transformation that you referenced, which is the streaming transformation, we were responding to a very, very obvious change in global media, both in terms of the creators and the distributors, but also the consumer. And it was, in my opinion, looking back on it, it seemed really bold. I view it today as it was really necessary.
I may imagine that in both cases, you may have big resistance from the status quo in general. So how you fighted that?
There's built-in resistance in any organization to change, but when change is so big, the resistance is even greater. You need to be incredibly clear about why you want to accomplish it, why is it important, and you need to be really clear about what it means for everybody who helps basically deliver that change. If you show any hesitation at all or in any lack of clarity, then you lose the organization. Resistance is inevitable, but it's important that you never let it grow to the point of being a detriment or a barrier to the change you need. If you get there, then you have to become much more forceful, much more autocratic Our estimate of total number of subscribers for the first year was, I think, in the 4 to 5 million range. So we thought after 1 year of operation, we'd have 4 to 5 million subscribers. We signed up 10 million in the first 24 hours. I probably should have retired that day.
Bob, it has been really insightful to have this chat with you. I'm very honored. I'm very pleased. Thank you a lot for being here today, and looking forward to keep on talking in the future. Now back to London. Thank you very much.
I'm Swan Sit, and I'm your host for today. Thank you, Bob and Martine, for sharing your insights on how to be willing to change and innovate. It's been so inspiring. Today, we'll be exploring how technology is reinventing connections together with some amazing speakers. Organizations have a major opportunity to evolve and change in ways that were unthinkable before. You can truly reinvent your business. Now, after the main stage is over, we have interactive networking sessions where you'll be able to meet attendees from all across the globe and deep dive into all these topics we'll be exploring together.
Humans are inherently social. We are wired to connect. Connecting to each other and a sense of belonging is as vital as food, water, and security. Technology can help us stay healthy in body and mind, as well as keep us entertained and informed. But as technology increasingly becomes an integral part of our day-to-day habits, we're also learning about the importance of switching off and balancing our digital connection with our connection to ourselves, others, and the real world around us. Get inspired by Gibert Englebien, Carly Kloss, Tristan Harris, Ariana Huffington, and Patricia Pomius.
It's a great pleasure for me to be with all of you today. I'm Gibert Englebien, co-founder of Globant and president of Globant X. As you know, we work on transforming extremely large organizations to have a digital future where they are extremely successful. But the truth is that getting there is increasingly difficult. So our vision at Globant X is that we need to partner up with technology, and particularly AI, to do what we do in a much better way. There are many activities that today we are doing when trying to move to digital. One of them definitely is coding, developing solutions. Imagine you are a coder that jumps into a project and suddenly that project is already existing, nobody took care of documenting it, and you need to go to a particular line of code, understand what the remaining code does, and try to insert your new code there. That's why we have developed Augur. Augur is like Google Maps for a coder. It will take you right to the place where you need to insert your next line of code, and it will explain you in plain English what that code does. Now, how do we ensure that whatever we produce is pixel perfect, is prepared to represent our brand in front of our consumers? Every time we use a product, it's like meeting someone new, and you only get one opportunity to create a first impression. That's why we develop Magnify. Magnify is able to test for the quality, the visual quality of any product 250 times faster than a human would do. So we are taking software development to the next level by using these tools. Not only that, we believe that in order to make a successful digital transformation, we need to assemble great teams. Teams that become a magnet for talent, allowing people to join because we create an environment of full autonomy where people is living and enhancing their careers all the time. And that's why we develop Start Me Up. It's a social operating system for an organization of the future. Through Start Me Up and using the power of digitalizing emotions, we are able to connect better with more people. In essence, we are creating technology that enhances our humanity. These are some of the things we are brewing at Globant. Even with these tools, we have to look around us and recognize that the world is changing. We need to move forward in an inclusive way. How do we apply it in a way that is efficient, ethical, and effective? It is an honor for me to be here today with someone who understands the power of technology and how it can affect our future. Carly Kloss is a leader in technology and founded Code with Closey, aimed at empowering women to code as a way into the sector. Carly, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. And I have to say, I love that you see coding as a superpower. That's the way we talk about it at Code with Closey as well.
In a world that will require us to reinvent over and over, the shift you have done when you started programming, becoming from being a fashion icon,
Yeah.
how was it for you, and what did you discover in that process?
It kind of all came full circle when social media kind of started developing. It's this really kind of pivotal moment for me as a person, actually, to show all sides of myself. Yes, I'm a fashion model, but there's so much more to who I am. And when social media gave me that platform to actually have a voice, not just be seen, but also be heard and reach a lot of people, that was something that I had this kind of realization. I can use this platform, use my voice to actually share kind of my own passions for wanting to learn how to code and the opportunities that really exist in technology.
It's like suddenly technology show you how much you could reach.
Yes.
and inspire you to reinvent yourself in different ways. I've seen you moving from the fashion show all the way into Roblox.
Yes.
How was it to actually get into the metaverse? And how do you see fashion as a way to express who we are?
I believe that the power of fashion at its core is a medium to express yourself. And I think there's so much power in that. And I think simultaneously, I'm a futurist. And I think part of why I get so excited about digital fashion is the accessibility of it. There's a lot of factors to the physical fashion industry. One, the impact on the environment is meaningful. The fashion industry, unfortunately, is one of the biggest polluters. But I think there's so much exciting kind of dynamics to the role of digital fashion. During New York Fashion Week, I walked in Carolina Herrera, and we had this idea that we basically took the dress he designed for me to wear on the runway. And the minute I stepped off the runway, we sold on Roblox the digital version of that dress. And we sold it for, I think it was 500 Robux. And it's now trading for, I think, 200,000 Robux. Like, there's actually real value to these digital assets as well.
And I believe that the angle of sustainability that you mentioned, through the metaverse, we can reinvent industries. Or imagine a fashion show that today is attended by 500 people.
Yeah.
And suddenly you can attend it with your friends and see it in live action and perhaps choose whatever you want to buy and produce it in the size that you want it.
Exactly. And I think that's part of what's so exciting is the democratization of access that the digital landscape really enables.
We are just starting to realize what technology, how it affects us. We are working with the Be Kind Tech Alliance, which is something that we launched because after some time we discovered that there were some collateral side effects of technology we couldn't see before. Your work with Code with Closey is inspiring. How do you see Code with Closey in the future?
Think of coding as a superpower that can supercharge what you're already passionate about. And so many of our scholars are passionate about social impact or social justice or sustainability. And they take those passions and they take their ability through learning how to code in our summer camps, and they walk away from kind of camp, not only with these skills, but also this new awareness of the possibilities and the potential that they can have to participate in these spaces and participate in building the future of our world.
Yeah. Well, Carly, it has been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
We are always talking about seeking reinvention, And I believe that you are an excellent example of that.
Thank you so much.
A pleasure. Carly's point on why it matters to actually bring people into this industry and allow them to grasp the power of technology is extremely important to us at Globant. So we decided to take a position here, to take a stand. And it was initially to create what we call the Be Kind Tech Fund, trying to foster entrepreneurs who are tackling these important issues and helping them develop their technology and reach broader awareness. It was also, we rapidly understood that we were falling short and that the battle was much larger. So we had to assemble an alliance. So the Be Kind Tech Alliance is essentially a group of companies and partners, including universities, entrepreneurial organizations, and advisors, including experts, to help us move this forward and create a larger impact. One of those advisors is the Center for Humane Technology that was co-founded by Tristan Harris. Tristan, I would like to give you a warm welcome to Converge.
My pleasure to be here with you.
As you frequently say, the greatest problem of humanity today is that we have very basic emotions, old institutions, and technology that reaches too far. We need to acknowledge that and respect our human vulnerabilities. And we need to employ technology in an ethical way. How should technologists accept this responsibility?
You know, when the Enlightenment thinkers like John Stuart Mill were writing about free speech and liberty and sovereignty and personal responsibility, they didn't imagine a world where AI and synthetic media and people could publish onto Twitter the sequences of a dangerous genome that people could use to print a pandemic in their basement. So the medieval institutions are come along with medieval ideas that are still holding on to and trying to exert a grasp over the ways that new technologies are undermining society. And they're not adequate to the new world that we're living in. We need to have a more disciplined idea of what responsible technology means, because with exponential technologies, we are going to affect 2 billion people's minds and their brains and their dopamine systems and their attention faster than we will understand how we are affecting them.
And at the end of the day, what's the mental shift that has to happen at an individual level to solve the threat we are facing as humanity?
You know, every technology is a Faustian bargain. It gives us something, but it might take something else away. We can consciously design for that exchange, that bargain, that, you know, trade that we're making with technology to be emphasizing the goods and the wisdom and really minimizing the externalities and the costs and the harms that show up on society's balance sheet.
And what advice can you share with us to ensure that the Be Kind Tech Alliance becomes a global movement and creates the biggest positive impact possible?
In my organization, the Center for Humane Technology, we have a course called Foundations of Humane Technology that's free, and that we've seen 12,000 people go through, register for the course, people from Apple and TikTok and United Nations who are taking it and learning how do we do technology in a different way? How do we use a different framework to assess goodness? I often think about civilization as like a body. You know, in your body, you have a heart, you have a lungs, you have kidneys. And as technology starts to not just add things on top of the body, but start to take over the fundamental life support functions of the body. So I think these are the kinds of questions that technologists can ask.
Thank you, Tristan, for your perspective. It is an honor to be working with you because we share a human-centric vision for technology to move the society forward. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great to speak with you.
Swan, back to you in London.
Let's delve deeper into how technology is reshaping our workplace culture. I'm delighted to introduce Patricia Pommies, COO at Globant, and writer, businesswoman, media entrepreneur, and Huffington Post founder, Arianna Huffington. Patricia and Arianna, over to you.
Thanks, Swan. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here with the talented entrepreneur, Arianna Huffington. She's a leader who has embraced the digital age since day one, and she launched the Huffington Post. A decade ago, she reinvented herself by focusing on mindfulness and the importance of self-care in today's technology and career-driven workplace. For Globant, It's a pleasure to have her as a guest because we share an approach to mental health in our workplace. Hello, Ariana. Thank you very much for being here. It's such a pleasure for me.
Patricia, it's just great to be with you.
The first question I want to ask you is, what role do you see technology is having in terms of reinventing the connection between people these days?
So obviously, we are living in a world which we cannot imagine without technology, especially if you look at the past 2.5 years of the pandemic. Where would we be without technology enabling communication? But at the same time, and that's the paradox, Patricia, we are all kind of drowning in data, in social media, in binge-watching shows. So we also need to use technology, ironically, to set boundaries to the way we consume technology. Can we pick a time at the end of the day when we stop being on our phone so we can disengage from technology and reconnect with ourselves to be able to deeply recharge, sleep, de-stress. And a lot of people have a hard time doing that because technology is very addictive, very stimulating. But we can pick little steps that help us, ironically, use technology to disconnect from technology. We can have nudges on our phone that remind us to put our phone away and reconnect with ourselves.
This is your last book, right? Thrive, it's amazing. You want to talk us a little about this book?
What prompted me to write the book is that I actually personally suffered from burnout. And I collapsed, that's how the book starts, and hit my head on my desk, broke my cheekbone. And basically, as the doctor said, there's nothing we can do. You have to change the way you live your life. So I wrote the book to help other people make changes in their lives before they collapse. And it's really about going from merely surviving to thriving.
We have a Be Kind program, and the last one, the last pillar of that program was Be Kind to Yourself. Mm-hmm. So I want to probably, if you have more to share with us about how to redesign the workplace.
So, Patricia, the first thing we need to do is change the culture that we are operating in. And we need to stop believing that in order to succeed and to be great at our jobs, we just have to power through exhaustion, we don't have time to sleep. Well-being is part of peak performance. And look at elite athletes like Tom Brady and LeBron James and Kevin Durant. They talk about how prioritizing their own time to recover and recharge makes them better on the court or in the field. When we do that, we see that it affects every business metric. Attrition, retention, productivity, healthcare costs. So it's really important to recognize that everything I'm saying around well-being and mental health is not just an HR benefit. It's really a business strategy.
That is what helps our culture reinvent on everyday basis. Yes. So I think that in Globant we have done an amazing job on that side, and we have created different kind of initiative. And another one that I want to mention is the Be Kind tech fund that we have. That is, it has the objective of funded platforms and apps that helps people disconnect from technology.
I love that, and I love having a technology company like Globant that is focused on reinvention. Also recognize that when we disconnect from technology, connect with ourselves, be kind to one another, we're going to be the best versions of ourselves when we are back connected.
Thank you very much, Ariana. It was a pleasure. And for me, personally, it's like a milestone. Meeting you and having the chance to have this beautiful conversation.
Well, I just want to say, Patricia, it was a real pleasure meeting you, and congratulations on your incredible career. And I promise to come to Madrid and look you up, and we can go shopping.
Of course, we can do that. Thank you very much. Okay, Swan, back to you in London. Thank you.
Welcome to the second part of the show, Connecting with the World. We're about to meet industry leaders who are using the newest technologies to remove the barriers and limitations of physical space. Through digitalization, they're revolutionizing how companies interact with all stakeholders, in particular with consumers, through new blended virtual and physical experiences, the true new omnichannel. Let's delve deeper into how technology is reinventing connections all over the world. I'm joined now by Diego Tartara, CTO of Globant. Diego, welcome. So excited to have you here.
Thank you very much, Swan. Very happy to be here as well.
Now, I'm so excited to speak with you because I'm not technical and I learned so much from CTOs. But you have a really hard job because if you're CTO of a tech company, you just get to build cool tech. But you're CTO of Globant, so not only do you have cool tech, you have to have solutions that have business impact. Tell me what that is like, what life is like for you.
So my job actually is not taking care only about technology and the trends. My job is understanding those trends, which are very impactful, like artificial intelligence and blockchain and the metaverse, and then combining that with different industries.
Give me an example of a type of client you'd work with, because I love how you're talking about AI and new technologies, but you're leading them to water. So who are the types of consumers and customers you work with?
Let me tell you an example. We just partnered with Sephora as a client, and we're working with them on their consumer experience, right? Changing it all the way around. So from things such as their data and analytics strategy, getting to know their clients, doing hyper customization, like you get your own experience according and very tailor-made, to things such as gamification for deeper connection with the people, and on top of that, we're actually starting to work on the metaverse, which is a first time for them.
Well, what do you say to people who are a little nervous about the metaverse and VR?
Well, actually, metaverse does not necessarily imply VR, but I think to be limited by the current technology. I think we need to get ready, like we start getting ready today for what is coming. So starting to create those experiences, starting to model that, understanding how they should work, and what people like about it, and how do we improve that. It's what we need to do to be the first ones there when this goes massive.
You're super deep in this. How would we define to the average person what a metaverse even is?
Let's just bring one example we were discussing. We have several clients in the sports industry, right? So sports venue is one of the things that we know when we understand. And we have seen a big evolution in how people are being part of those events, right? Any sports match, any type of sport, how do you live it, right? Nowadays, you have so much more people consuming that through technology than in presence in the stadium, right? And how is that experience? Well, you see the evolution of that, and now we're having technology, we're going as deep as technology that allows you to do volumetric video, meaning that you get to choose, they capture the whole volume of the stadium, of the field, and you get to choose your point of view. So now you're not only a spectator, you're actually take part of it. You decide where you want to see it. So it's very immersive. And you get the stadium as well. You could do a 3D representation, and people could have their avatar there, and I could actually walk around and get to a store and buy something, and actually that will be delivered to my door, and then walk around and see the museum. That evolution takes us to what a metaverse is. What I do know is that metaverse, it is today what web used to be in the early 2000s or late 90s, is exactly that. We are doing the first steps on something that will change a paradigm of how we live digital experiences.
So it's not about a virtual reality or even a game. It's just an immersive experience. It might be on a 2D flat screen. Maybe it is with a headset. Maybe it's even in person, right? That's the true new
Maybe it's
omnichannel.
even fishy though. It's a combined experience. Yeah, totally, definitely.
I mean, there's a participation that makes people feel included, and that's what sport is. It's feeling community.
Definitely. See, you're creating the experience. It's exactly that. And there's so much to create.
Now, what else can we break? We've already torn apart all the industries I've worked in. I was in beauty, I was the head of digital marketing globally at Nike. We've torn that up. What else is ripe for innovation?
Education.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's dig into that one.
Well, education, again, you know, the first university that was created in the year 1000, around 1000, the Bologna University. The way the program was structured is exactly the same, almost exactly the same as the way a university works today.
That's scary.
Yes, exactly. So it doesn't make any sense, right? But technology applied to education, if we take it seriously, changes everything. Everything. Creating, say, a metaverse or a VR experience where teachers and students share, I think it's totally positive. But it only starts there. Like you're studying about, I don't know, a conflict, right? And you do that with students of another country. Technology allows you to do that. 50 years ago, that would have been impossible.
Students
Definitely.
learn in so many different ways. Some have photographic memories, some are dyslexic, some enjoy the Socratic method. So imagine not only can we mix students from different cultures and countries, maybe even ages and backgrounds, but we teach them individually. That's incredible. Now, why did you guys pick education as one of the focus areas for the studio? Because like you said, it's an outdated industry. Yes, it's ripe for innovation, but it's generally not the most profitable.
There are companies like Globant that live out of talent, and one of our missions is educating our people, is training our people, and that's one of our strengths, actually. So understanding what the market needs in terms of technology, design, testing, what's going on, and then creating our capacity, which is having, you know, our Clovers, our employees, our talent, and helping them accelerating their career. That reality worth for every company out there. So actually, I think education is not only about the traditional schools and universities. I'm thinking about companies as well. I think companies are now more than ever part of that education of all the population.
So one last question for our viewers. What's a piece of advice that you would give to anyone who's curious about the future of technology, the metaverse, NFTs, AI? How do they start becoming more accustomed to learning about strange new concepts?
One important thing is you don't want to fall in love with technology. You fall in love with the problem and then explore as many technologies as you have at hand to solve that problem. And you use what's best. And then you can get in love with the technology as well.
Such an unusual perspective from a CTO. I appreciate that. You've blown my mind in so many ways. I hope our viewers got as much out of it as I did. Thank you so much for your time today.
So very happy to be here.
Advanced technologies have become essential in solving many of today's challenges. Digitization is transforming the way we connect, work, and learn.
Immersive learning is a concept where you're using more interactive content to change to the learner in real time as one component. Imagine that you can actually practice a doctor and patient discussion that is a difficult discussion. If the doctor becomes excellent at that, through that practice, how much that could have a positive effect. This gamification layer and the method of engagement completely changes our ability to retain information. We see 300 to 500%, more retention.
The COVID-19 pandemic was a wake-up call for many industries to embed digital transformation at every level of their operations, in particular healthcare.
Technology is truly the underpinning that is transforming the patient experience. Technology allows us to be able to identify, access, and track patient data with the right consent in order to be able to deliver end-to-end personalized experiences that improve patient outcomes.
For the first time since the beginning, since the dawn of medicine, even since Hippocrates, now patients can bring value to the table. data, insights, information, second opinion, peer support, the access to technologies, the access to information and communities on social media. All these things they can bring to the same table within the ivory tower of medicine that only healthcare professionals have been sitting for hundreds, if not 2,000 years. This is the paradigm shift we are living through, and it means that patients are becoming empowered, expert, engaged in their own care.
When it comes to digital transformation, the auto industry is in the driving seat.
Advanced technologies are vital for the car industry. You probably hear stories of like airline industries and how many sensors are in the engines that you see flying up above. The cars are really no different. You have an enormous number of instrumentation and sensors and data that's being continuously collected in the vehicle around that. The next big trends for the auto industry, we feel, are based on how the customer interacts with the services that they're being provided.
Virtual solutions are also unlocking unprecedented opportunities for growth in the sports industry, making entertainment more inclusive, accessible, and even more creative.
At Globant, we believe really heavily in reinvention of the industries we work with, reinvention of the work that we do, reinvention of ourselves. You know, our focus around digital and digital transformation is more than just technology. It's really about the full life experience from beginning to end of, I want to go to a game, I'm actually going to a game, and now I've left a game. What does that look like in the next phase? That concept of reinvention is really, really core to everything that anyone within that experience wants to do.
I think one of the key differences in the evolution of sports and how technology is embedded into that is that they're connecting more devices. We're talking about virtual reality, augmented reality, we're talking about NFTs, and now also the metaverse. They are creating the ecosystem of solutions that are going to create different experiences, very unique experiences for the fans.
I think that with the basis that we have now, all the technology that we have, like as a league, we have delivered in the last 4 years, and with the expertise in other industries that Globant have it, like media, entertainment, bank, that we can take a lot of learnings to drive to this industry.
Reinventing connections in the context of a sports or live entertainment event, to me, is all about bringing people together, which for the most part, people come together to experience those things, eliminating all the noise, eliminating all the friction, eliminating all the lines, and ultimately you're in that moment together without, again, distractions, without the hassles, without the noise, and really just enjoying the moment, whatever that may be.
Shaping a connected future requires an acceleration in digital partnerships.
La Liga has deep experience in running a sports organization. Globant, as you know, it's a profound technology company that innovates every single day and reinvent the journeys and the experiences of our consumers.
I think one of the things that's been most rewarding for our team with working with Globant is just that they've assembled a very international team to support the development we're doing. So we're truly, truly building a platform globally.
Right now, change probably is the new normal. And what Globant's helped us with is being able to provide those new services before we even sometimes know that we even need them.
It'd probably be easier for me to talk about the things Globant isn't helping us do in this space. We are partnering with many providers of goods and services and technology, and they have unique products that meet a unique need, but they're not going to deliver on the experience we're trying to deliver end to end. And really that's where Globant is coming in to help us integrate all of those disparate pieces of technology.
As the world begins to align itself with this new digital future, businesses will focus on creating user-driven, captivating experiences that feel inclusive and real. Looking ahead, going digital will no longer be a differential, it will be crucial for success.
The energy of passionate people, remarkable things can happen. And that is why we are excited to announce our new partnership with FIFA. Globant is the global platform supporter of FIFA Plus, the game-changing digital destination launched earlier this year. We're excited for this partnership with FIFA. Reinvention is on the way. This is why we have invited one of the FIFA's legend and one of the world's most successful and recognized football players to join us today. Welcome to the stage, Roberto Carlos.
Muchas gracias.
Roberto, tengo muchas preguntas para hacerte. Como sabes, somos una empresa de tecnología y nos encanta cómo la tecnología ayuda a distintas industrias. Y en este caso particular, me gustaría preguntarte cómo has vivido a lo largo del tiempo y qué cosas podés destacar respecto de la tecnología en el fútbol, como un jugador, como un fan, coach.
Vivimos en un mundo moderno, ¿no? Y yo creo que hoy en día, para los fisios, preparadores físicos, entrenadores, hasta mismo los jugadores, están entendiendo poco a poco cómo va la tecnología en el fútbol. Cuando se tiene un buen producto, automáticamente dentro de campo, los jugadores van a saber exactamente lo que tienen que hacer. Los entrenamientos, los vídeos, todo lo que hay. Yo hoy en mi club tenemos lo más moderno posible para que los jugadores tengan la idea o la inteligencia de entender. No es como en mi época que se hablaba mucho. Hoy es más fácil. Hoy se pone ahí un ordenador y todo sale bien y el jugador entiende con más facilidad. Yo siempre digo que el mundo moderno te hace pensar y los jugadores están más inteligentes y están entendiendo cómo va la situación, cómo va el tema. Me sorprende porque si yo tuviera en mi época esta tecnología sería un poco mejor de lo que ha sido en relación a mi carrera.
Y respecto al mundo de los fans, hoy tenés millones de seguidores, a los cuales les hablas en tiempo real.
¿Sí?
¿Cómo ha sido esa experiencia para vos?
Lo mejor para un jugador de fútbol es el contacto con tu público. Hoy muchas veces hay gente que me manda mensajes en segundos, ya estamos hablando entre los dos. Yo vengo de Brasil, de un país prácticamente de tercer mundo, y Brasil ha crecido muchísimo, porque hoy tú puedes hablar de Madrid a São Paulo, o tú puedes hacer una videoconferencia en tiempo real, que la gente te ve y te pregunta y tú contestas. O sea, es la modernidad que existe en la vida que nosotros vamos adaptándonos poco a poco.
Y ya estás en el metaverso.
Estoy en el metaverso. Estoy aprendiendo un poco de lo que es esa modernidad. Y es muy divertido porque Roberto Carlos habla italiano, portugués, español. Y ahora puedo hablar francés, inglés, chino. Y tú vas a estar presente con las personas de todas las partes del mundo físicamente. O sea, me encanta estar en el metaverso porque me hace estar más cerca todavía de mis fans.
¿Lo ves a futuro complementando o desplazando otras formas de conectarse?
Yo me sorprendo por la velocidad. Veo mis hijos hoy con la velocidad que tienen con ordenadores y hablando con gente de Brasil también. O sea, los niños están aprendiendo más rápido que nosotros, ¿no? Cuanto más tecnología hay para un ser humano, o para el público, o para el mundo, más fácil vamos a vivir.
Y Roberto, necesito hacerte una pregunta. Te doy tiempo para que la pienses.
¿Es fácil o es difícil?
Es bastante difícil. Para mí es muy fácil, pero puede ser difícil para vos.
Vale.
Viene la Copa del Mundo.
Ajá.
¿Quién gana?
Brasil no gana un mundial desde 2002, entonces nuestra foto es la última en la Confederación Brasileña de Fútbol.
Bien.
Y claro, teniendo a grandísimos jugadores y por tanto tiempo como Brasil no gana ese título, yo soy brasileño y yo espero que Brasil vuelva a ser campeón del mundo en Qatar.
Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias a ti.
Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias.
Now we're going to go from being inspired to predicting the future. And while no one has a crystal ball, Agustin Huerta, the SVP of Studios at Globant, comes pretty close when it comes to understanding how advanced technologies like AI and Web3 will change your future.
Thank you so much, Swan. I'm really excited to be here today to talk about some amazing things that are happening in the tech field. We know human behavior is changing faster than at any point in history. The convergence between humans and technology is changing the most basic aspects of human life. Let's take gaming. It connects people, builds and fosters communities all over the world. But it isn't just a recreational activity. Gaming has a direct impact in the foundation of metaverse, affecting entire industries in profound ways. EdTech and life sciences are looking into the metaverse to create the next generation of learning experiences, transforming all touchpoints and interactions. There isn't a single industry that won't be touched or inspired by the gaming industry. And because of this, we can be certain that today, every company needs to find a place in the metaverse. For over 15 years, Globant has been helping companies create amazing and interactive 3D content for more than 100 AAA game credits. Now, it's time to connect with the future in an entirely new way. Our gaming expertise allow us to launch our Metaverse Studio in record time for our clients and customers. I'm excited about the work we are doing with Pixelinks, a company exploring the gray area between music, Web 3.0, and gaming, creating new formats and new ways for fans to consume music content and for artists to produce and create in this space. Let's learn about Pixelinks, a next-generation music gaming company leveraging gaming, music, and blockchain to create the music metaverse of the future.
My name is Inda. I am the CEO and co-founder of Pixelinks. We were really thinking about the future of the music industry and what would that look like. You know, we're seeing all of this transformation unfold in front of us with Web3 and blockchain and gaming. You know, what if music was in the middle of some of those changes? And it can all be achieved in the game that we're building with Globant, which is super exciting.
My name is Sabina Schneider. I'm Chief Solutions Officer at Globant. So Globant is a technology company, it's a digitally native technology company. We get to know the people on the organization, and from there we try to reinvent the way the business is done.
So I go by Chuck Tolman. My title is Chief Technology Officer of Pixelinks. After having done VR for 5 or 6 years, I did find myself kind of itching to find something new, something different.
My name is John DeVecca and I'm Chief Strategy Officer at Pixelinks.
So I met John on a panel that I was speaking on last year. He patented a lot of the technology behind Guitar Hero and then sold his patent portfolio to Activision. He's a real innovator in the music industry.
I started off as a musician. Like, is there a way I can bring kind of like an apex experience, what it feels like to be a rock star through video games?
Rather than it being a 2D kind of horizontal timeline, what if it was 3D and it was vertical? And you could basically build up this piece of music as a solid structure. Would that impact the way people created music and the way fans would even consume it? So Pixelinks really started off as a company looking to explore that grey area between music, Web3 and gaming. It's a next generation music gaming company between myself, Deadmau5 and Richie Hawtin, two iconic musicians. So we're building this game and it will showcase many incredible features and ideas that we think the music industry and fans will love, and the gaming industry will also find interesting, that feels fresh and different. The first part of that product is a mobile game that's built on the same technology as Pokemon Go. And the idea is you can explore the world around you, you can go to shows, complete quests and mini games in order to unlock music NFTs and music content from your favorite artists. And gives fans this experience of collecting music, but not in this obvious way. We've turned collecting music into a gamified experience that has more depth to it than the traditional concept.
Our gaming studio has more than 14 years of experience working with AAA titles along the market, like EA, Ubisoft.
What I love about working with the Globant team on this is they see the vision very clearly too.
We bring together multidisciplinary teams specialized in gaming.
Globant to us is one of the key trusted partners in our kind of ecosystem to help us build our game and our larger kind of product infrastructure.
The partnership with Pixelinks is amazing because we are merging two organizations that are great by themselves, but that can be absolutely powerful coming together.
We have one more very special guest for you today. We've already admired his art during the performance at the start of the event. Now let's hear directly from the artist to understand how he uses machine learning algorithms and AI to create these incredible dreamlike environments. Please welcome Rafiq Anadol.
Hello, I'm Rafiq Anadol. I'm a media artist and director joining you from Los Angeles, California. As a studio, last 8 years, we transformed multiple public art pieces around the world, specifically focus how we can transform the public data for public art and make connections between art, science, and technology, and find meaningful, purposeful communication between algorithms and the humanity. For example, in this example, we use 113 million images of New York and transform the idea of a machine dreaming New York into a three-dimensional environment at Art Deco's Chelsea market and transform how a machine could dream into a three-dimensional space. We were able to work with many different data sets over the years, including the space. One of the most inspiring part of using satellites such as ISS and Hubble and Mars datasets, and we were even able to transform this information into a physical room, an immersive room, but imagine this also exists in the metaverse. As I mentioned before, our work is profoundly finding these physical and virtual connections, and we were able to create the world's first immersive environment as an NFT as well, an auction at Sotheby's in the form of non-fungible token, which allows the collector and the public to explore and feel this artwork in physical and virtual worlds. The other example was quantum memories or synthetic landscapes. And in this project, we were able to work with the Google AI quantum team and use 53 qubits quantum depth of information and transform our AI dreaming 300 million nature photos in the form of an AI data sculpture. And additionally, we were remarkably challenging ourselves to give meaningful outputs from our research, and thanks to SpaceX and Inspiration 4 mission in space, we were able to create an NFT collection by using space data for astronauts 3 days in the space orbit and transform this NFT collection into a charity for St. Jude Hospital, Children's Hospital, and donated $2.5 million as well. And memories, I do believe, one of the most profoundly important information for humanity. That's where the privacy and the free will most likely will be unfolding. In our research, we work with many different data sets of brain activities. And also, this summer, we were able to create a piece called Sense of Healing, which was using data from a human mind, showcasing the power of healing, and transform this artwork into a donation to UNICEF, and also sold it for 1.7 million euro and donated to UNICEF as well. And lastly, I would like to show one of our last experiences in public space. As I mentioned, NFTs can become a public art and can bring humanity together. In this example, we are calling it living architecture, Casabatio, one of the most inspiring architects, Gaudi's building. We were able to create a real-time NFT by using real-time data from the building and combining with 1 billion data points, a UNESCO heritage building facade data, and try to create a real-time AI data sculpture living in the metaverse and real-time. And as you may see here, the wind data on the very left and the rain data in the center can transform the building every time, like life, every single day. And the result was also witnessed by more than 50,000 people in real time in Barcelona, and transformed this NFT into a living architecture and let the people come, celebrate, and hug the building, I guess, as a ceremony before it goes to metaverse. As you may see, the power of imagination and the power of public art is profoundly changing how we see the technology. Without being wishful thinker, it's presumably the technology may create something unexpected. But I do also believe that we have to find what else can we do with that. Bringing optimism with a deep thinking and bringing depth to surface is incredibly important for our future. Thank you very much, and see you in Dataland, our metaverse.
That's all the time we have for today. What a jam-packed show. Thank you to all of our fantastic speakers for your contributions and insights today. It was incredible to get so many different insights on how technology is reinventing connections across the board. And huge thank you to Globant for having the vision and dedication to produce such a special event. It has been such a fantastic evening. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll see you next year.
Thank you, Swan, and thank you everyone for being a part of Globant Converge today. It's been a fascinating experience for all of us. The leaders who spoke today come from many different cultures, passions, and skill sets. However, they all have one thing in common. They understand the power and the influence that disruptive technologies are having on our society. The same way they use that technology through their art, initiatives, or businesses, Globant does that in the solutions we create for our clients. We have 34 studios of deep expertise in top tech capabilities today. We put together diverse, autonomous, creative and entrepreneurial teams from many studios. They work hand in hand with our clients and they craft solutions that put them at the top of the innovation wave. And this is what makes Globant successful, because we believe in our team members. They are the leaders of transformation of our clients, not our executives. We have the honor of working with some of the most talented and fascinating people all over the world. We know that reinvention is more than technology. It is more than AI. Reinvention is a mindset. Today, we have had the privilege of sharing the stage with people who share that mindset. Thanks to all of you as well, and always seek reinvention.